come right back to the beginning. It's all by design. Yeah. Okay, there was another hand. Yep.
I just wondered how you felt about the humanity of the judge you described compared to some of the people you met in prison. How would you contrast them two?
The humanity of the judge?
Yeah.
My judge?
The judge who you're talking about there. Sorry,
The
not
sheriff.
Sheriff
Sheriff of Ohio.
Yeah, how does he compare to the worst people you met in there?
There's good and bad in everything, and there's good and bad in everybody. And I try not to be bitter and judgmental about anybody. You know, he's a product of the American system, really. They vote him in, and it's a reflection, I think, of this thing the public have about prisoners just lock them up and throw away the key that we've got, you know, subconsciously otherwise. He embodies that, and that's how he's come to power. So I'll try not to criticise him directly, or, you know, I'm not bitter about my experience or anything like that. I'm just doing what I can do to try and make some changes in my own little way. Okay. Is there another hand up? Yep.
Do you predict the general population burning becoming less and less exposed in prison as private companies come in and the machines start working their magic?
Yeah, I mean, look at the state of the economy right now. What the politicians do is they divide the public, so that the public are picking on each other, so the attention's not getting put on them. That's why you see, you know, headlines about prisoners and stuff like that as well. They're making all these big headlines about prisoners getting the vote and not getting the vote and stuff like that. It's just a distraction for the public. Keep the public hating on the prisoners, and it keeps them from focusing on the real economic issues that are going on. That's got everything down like this. All the corruption, all the money that's been absorbed into the banking system and stuff like that. They don't want the people thinking about that. They want people thinking, you know, other enemies, not them, basically. And they use the media to do that. Yeah. Okay.
Have you been deported from America?
Yeah, I was. I'm deported from America and I'm banned for life by the Department of Homeland Security.
Because I'm thinking it would be useful for you to go around Arizona to
I know. I would love to. I'd love to speak in schools in there as well. Yeah. My entire talk to schools is on YouTube, so any school in the world can watch it. The only way I'd get back in there is if I got a presidential pardon. So if anyone knows Obama, please put a good word in for me. Anyone else? Yeah.
I was going to ask, when did they discover it was you that was blogging?
All right.
That changed
When I was in the remand jail, there was no way we could let them know who I was, because that was where the guards were routinely murdering the prisoners, and there would have been some retribution. So it was going on in the name of John, not my name, but it didn't get detected. That was the tail end of my stay in the remand maximum security jail. When I got moved to the prison system, I felt comparatively safer to release my name to the media, because the guards weren't routinely murdering the prisoners. In fact, every building in the prison system was named after a guard who'd been murdered by the prisoners. They take a while to catch up the bureaucracies and stuff like this, especially when blogging wasn't that well known. And I did get threatened by guards, and I did get threatened by prisoners over the years. But by the time I was deported, you know, I managed to get through it all somehow. But presently, they've got my blog and all my books classified as a threat to disclosure institution. None of the prisoners allowed to read them. So yes, somehow I just wrangled through it all and got. Yeah. Yep.
Did you want to commit a criminal offence?
You know what? I've wondered about that. My aunt's dead now. If she'd have got caught doing that, I don't think it was within the scope of the law to prosecute her for a crime. I don't think it came within the classification of contraband. So I think she probably could have beat any kind of charge in court if that had happened. Yeah. Okay.
As far as you know, are there states in America where the regime and sentences and prison service is more progressive than others? Is there any movement within the USA itself to sort out disparities?
There's three branches of law in America. There's the federal law, there's the state law, and there's the Supreme Court. So each state has its own laws and its own prison system. If you commit a federal crime, such as bank robbery or doing a crime across state lines, you go into the federal system, which has a lot more money than the state system. So the federal system is considered, the conditions are considered better than the state systems in general. State to state, you'd have to look at every different decision maker's policy. Arizona is considered the most draconian, so I imagine there are plenty of other states that are more enlightened or evolved and more orientated towards human rights than Arizona. I just haven't actually looked at all that in detail. Yeah.
Can I ask a question? Willie was just asking, this is at the heart of that one, and that is, there is a difference between the United States and here, and that's the difference. The states, we have a single system that, for example, a jail and inspection, whereas in the United States, unless you cross the state boundary, so if what's his face, the sheriff was sheriff in the state, he would be subjected, he would probably get life sentence because you need a grand jury and all the rest of it. In the UK, we do have a son and prisons are like college count and that kind of stuff. But the structure of the system is very different. And also, let's hope it remains for a while, for subject to the European Court, we have second check. I mean, isn't there some hope for, must we follow America even with private prisons?
I think the Americans tend to go to extremes, and that's what's happened. But money seems to control what's going on around the world right now, and I think they looked at us as a big target for the private prisons. It's already started to happen. Yeah, I don't think we'll ever get to the extremes of jail and beheadings and all that kind of stuff. Stories like we've heard today, but it is slowly moving in the right direction.
Wanted to know how you develop psychological strength to go from the party lifestyle to this, and the guys that 3 times as big as you,
Yeah.
the drugs when you said you were a drug user,
Yeah.
how you stopped and developed.
Alright, well, how I started drugs was, when I was a teenager, I went through like a shy phase, and I wouldn't get up and dance. I was too self-conscious. I wouldn't go up and talk to women in the clubs. But once I started taking ecstasy, I would dance all night and make friends with half the club. And that's how it started. I think being forced to live with hundreds of guys, scary people, crushed that shyness and anxiety out of me. That benefited me. Now, I fell into the hands of a brilliant psychotherapist. Most of the medical staff were barred from public practice in the prison. It's the bottom of the barrel. But there was this psychotherapist, and most of the other therapists were experimenting on the latest generation of pills for the pharmaceutical companies, because the prisoners are considered human beings. It's considered institutional use. But this one psychotherapist, he was into neuroscience and yoga and philosophy and all this stuff. I had about 12, 13 sessions with him, and to this day I fall back on the stuff that he taught me. He said, look, you've got this adrenaline junkie personality type. That was what was leading to me getting into trouble. But he taught me to view it as just energy. He said you were choosing to take your energy and put into these negative addictions, hanging out with all these gangsters in the drug community, racing around on speed in my car, all this stuff that got me killed. Sometimes I still hear that old school rave music, and it sends that jolt of excitement up my spine and get the goose flesh. But I remember what the psychotherapist said, it's all energy. I go to the fitness centre now, do karate, do yoga, do body combat, and come out on a natural high. One of the quotes that he taught me as well was Epictetus. We're disturbed not by things, but by the views that we take of them. So anything at all can happen around us in life. Anyone at all can say anything nasty to us in life. But we have complete control over our reaction to it by our thoughts. So stuff like that is, it's given me a foundation to do better in life. So I was very lucky to run into him. And my psychotherapy sessions are actually about 10% of prison time as well, of the book. Okay, anyone else? Yep.
Does the church have any role in prisons? I mean,
Yeah, it really does. The guards look at it as an inconvenience because they have to supervise them.